mentioned waiting is a function of hope.
Mm,
Just one little line right in the middle of page 149.
mm.
Waiting is a function of hope. You also take some time to describe hope. Can you illuminate and help us to see what it means to hope the way
Mm.
you described it? If you can remember off the top of your head, I know
Yeah.
when you write a lot, sometimes you forget.
I know. I was like, what did I say there? But I do remember saying that, hope has a past orientation and a future orientation. So, hope is built on what you've seen God do, the ways that you've seen him be faithful. I think about a psalm that I read this week, like I can't remember the specific words, but the idea of just, how miraculous are your works? Like, could I even tell the measure of them? You can't have hope until you've recounted, remembered, rehearsed what God has already done. Because what hope is there if you don't know that God is powerful and faithful and that he will keep his promises? And you know that through the scriptures, but you also know that through your own life. That's what there's a whole story of Israel. It's like you were supposed to keep looking back, Israel. You were supposed to remember. But hope has a future orientation too, just this whole idea of, we know the story's not ended. We know that there's a reason why Jesus, like, he is coming back. The world will be put to rights. And that is what you need when you are waiting. I talk about hope in the context of injustice. When you have to endure injustice, what do? Like, well, you remember, you look forward to, you remember what God's done in the past, but you anticipate what he will do. And one of the things that God will do, because righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne, he is going to put things to rights. And that is the only thing you can hope for when you go through a season where you're just like, injustice, like the evil are prospering, right? This is the psalmist, like, I looked everywhere and the evil were doing great. And it's even just hope for when you can't even actually identify who's the evil person and who's the good person. I think about the conflict right now in Israel, the war, and you're just like, this is just an impossible situation, where innocent people are suffering. The only hope that I have is that God sees, and that God is going to put the world to rights. Like, I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know when he will do it. But I hope in that. I also remember where, talking about or quoting from N.T. Wright, where he said, hope is a virtue you have to practice. It's just like anything else. You just have to keep practicing hope, almost like you practice your scales on the piano and you practice your golf swing, and you practice all kinds of things. You have to practice hope. And I think that is to speak to, we've already talked about church. It's just one of those practices that engage us in the practice of hope, because you go to church and you live, you're assaulted the entire week with other stories of time and the world. And then you get yourself back to church and you're like, that's right. Christ has died. Christ is risen. Christ will come again. Like, you're called to the table. And this is my body broken for you. This is my blood, of the new covenant. Take these elements as you do this, remember until I come. So you're telling a whole new story every time you go to church. So you're practicing hope when you go to church. And I don't think we think sometimes of hope as an emotion, like you have it or you don't. And it's like, no, you get to practice it. It's just like anything else in life.